Good evening and welcome to Sports Ultras live here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Owuraku Ampofo. In the next few minutes, we'll be bringing you a wrap of the biggest stories when it comes to the world of sports. We'll be starting off from the Ghana Premier League, where there's a lot of talking points, especially with the title race. Every week seems to come with a different twist. Our Heart of Folk back in the title race. We'll be dissecting that. And then there's also the return of European leagues, with La Liga getting ever interesting. Barcelona failing to capitalize on Real Madrid dropping points. And then there's the Premier League title race, which is almost done. But Liverpool just want to further delay that possible coronation. We'll be doing all of this and much more in the next few minutes here on 3FM 92.7. Live here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Owuraku Ampofo, and I'm joined in the studio by Mutala, Augustine, and then Akosia. Welcome, guys. How are we doing tonight? Are you sure you're all good?
Yeah. Yes. A few more things from yesterday's game. I'm beginning to appreciate again.
Yeah.
It's been a while I played, so I'm beginning to appreciate again how these players take to the field and train every day to get the best out of themselves. It's not that easy. We'll cope.
For those of you wondering, is the corporate league by UG. And so, Media General in the competition, 4 games played, 4 draws. I repeat, 4 games played, 4 draws. All of the games, Media General take the lead and then they concede. I don't know who or what is doing Media General, but Media General has to win a game. Hopefully next week they do so. Augustine, how about you? You didn't have to play, did you?
I didn't have to play. I just had to be in my house and then get some rest for myself. But I've enjoyed the weekend and the week as a whole.
Akosia, how about you?
The weekend was okay, except the fact that I've been seeing a lot of I want to play for Black Stars. I want to play for Black Stars. From
Mutala
players.
I thought Mutala wanted to revive.
Then you see, court card, player A, playing for Black Stars has always been my aim, and I hope. I'm like, why are people all of a sudden resurrecting these kind of conversations? And these are players who have played in the Ghana Premier League before, moved out of Ghana, not necessarily in Europe or say any tough league outside. And it's like, I want to play for Black Stars. I'm like, why? What happened? It's been the thing that's been on my mind since. I've been like, okay, maybe when I come and I ask Mutala, probably he may know the reasons why all of a sudden there's a resurrection in the interest of some players yearning to get a Black Star call-up.
Mutala, do you know why? Maybe the team has become attractive. It's a good sign.
Well, I think we are even at our low. I feel most of these players are beginning to appreciate the fact that playing for a national team adds a lot to your career. And look at the clubs that these players are playing for. Most of them are in unknown leagues or leagues that are not that prestigious, not the top 5 leagues in Europe, not that familiar. So they want to use the Black Stars to elevate their career. And if the person is from Belgium playing in the Belgian league, the number of players Belgium produce every year. When they call players to the national team, they call the very best. So you might not fall into the category of the very best, but you may be a cut below the very best. And you also look for opportunities out there. If Ghana comes calling, at least Ghana will qualify for the World Cup. You can be playing at the World Cup. You'll be known. You'll be seen. Just like what Inaki Williams and the rest did. Remember, Inaki told us he doesn't feel Ghanaian. But after several attempts to get into the Spanish national team, which he couldn't, he felt Ghanaian and came back to play for us. He has played a World Cup. If Inaki retires today, he has a World Cup shirt to present to his case that he was at the 2022 World Cup. And you know how big that is.
Yeah.
Even the legendary Abedi Pele did not play a World Cup. even the legendary Abedi Pele did not play a World Cup with Ghana.
So I think in Nike as a better pedigree than
that is what you are saying. Pedigree. I'm talking about a personal achievement that you can smile about. It's something that you can show to your kids that at least you've played at the World Cup. It's a big deal for a country that hasn't qualified for the World Cup that much. We've qualified for only 4 times or 3. Is it 3 or 4 times?
So 06, 10,
06,
14, 22. So 4.
Just 4 times. Yeah. So it's a big deal to play at the World Cup. I'm not talking about performance, but even being a 3-year ban here, just being at the World Cup. Who knows? That may be the last time he would ever be at a World Cup. Yeah. So it's a big deal. So I feel that is what is attracting most of these should I call them Ghanaian born or foreign born Ghanaian players. And it's so with the Black Queens. I'm seeing right now every call up I see one of them. In the Black Queens.
Seeing the one of Brunei. You can also be scrolling Facebook and you see someone post 2 players that we've not even heard of before that these players should be at the women's AFCON. I'm like,
I'm seeing one of Brunei. I just saw one yesterday. They introduced another one from New England Lionesses or something. Yeah. This is a championship team in England. Yeah. And I'm like, how did they even find?
So, but the coaches have always been traveling.
Oh, really?
And they do. Oh, really? The coaches have always been traveling. Even when Nora was here, she was always traveling. You know that, and Josephine, it was Nora that actually met with her first before she joined the team.
So she established a contact before Lars came in.
And Kim Last has also been traveling across the world, also looking at players and all. All I'm hoping for is that we don't lose our identity.
It's very important. It's very important. It's very important to keep your identity and not lose it. It's very, very important to keep your identity and not lose it. But nobody is saying they are not Ghanaians. They are Ghanaians. I mean, through their parental heritage. But also keeping your identity is important because they are used to a certain system. Their doctrine and teaching when it comes to culture and even their football is that of a certain system. So not losing your culture is very important. I mean, they can also come and help us. Why not?
Yeah. We'll get to the Black Queens, but let's start with the Ghana Premier League. Augustine 1-1 draw, Asante Kotoko. Given the context of things, away game, maybe any drop in points, a point might not be too bad for Kotoko on the road, was it?
Owuraku, a point I think is the best for Kotoko. Traveling to Pando, looking at the dynamics of a game and what had happened between the 2 games since Pando Lions gained a promotion last season. I think the best fan of Kotoko in the heart could wish for was a draw in this game. And what I expected to happen actually happened. And if Kotoko had not gotten the first goal, things could have proven a bit difficult for them. So getting the first goal puts you on the edge, and then even if you concede, then you get a point. And for the season, I don't remember a game where Kotoko were down by a goal and they came back and won the game. So if they were to go down by a goal, it would have been very difficult for them. But then if you are playing a team that used to have that Pando Stadium as its fortress until they lost to Nations and then also to Dreams FC, I think getting this result is good once again. And also looking at the fact that your competitor, your other title contender in the shape of being Ghost Stars, had to travel to Tuba and losing by 2 goals to 0, which I don't know if I was the only person who saw it coming, because I'm talking about Dreams FC side who were almost the most informed side in the Ghana Premier League. In their last 6 games, they had won on about 4. In their last 4 home games, they had won 3 and won 1. The last beat became at Tuba. So I saw them beating Bibi Ghost Stars coming. But it's good results for Kotoko. Justice Blade did brilliant with the goal he scored. And we've been seeing screamers in the Ghana Premier League for some time now, for the past weeks. We saw that from Razak Simpson. We saw that from Daniel Yemo of Vision FC. We saw one today in Pando from Justice Blay, and we also saw one at Accra Sports Stadium. So I think we want to see more screamers, more brilliant goals, and Ogum did well. Now it's a game he managed quite well. Now his next game is against Bichim United. Being good starts to play Young Apostles next. But look at the other the games they have to play next, and there's so hope for Kotoko possibly to win a Ghana Premier League. But mind you, being good stars do have enough motivation to do what Samatex did, to do what Mediama did, is going to be very difficult, especially when Kotoko would have to travel to BBN also to play them, and that's what makes it a bit tricky. But we're at a point where we don't even know if the 3 points from Swatre is going to be given to BBN Gold Stars. If personally, I think if it's going to be given to them, it should be given now. We don't want a case where we have about 3 games to go and then now there's a gift of 3 points to one team, and maybe if the points difference is still 2, you give the 3 points to one team and then Kotoko now lags behind by just a point. I think if there's something to be done, I think it should be done now, so we see how we are going to compete for the league or something.
Butala,
Yeah.
you watched the Hearts of Oak game.
Yeah.
Very important win for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it puts them right back into the title conversation. I mean, just last week, people were talking about the fact that 4 games without a win completely kicks them out of the title conversation. But if you check the table currently, with Kumasi Asante Kotoko drawing and BBN Gold Stars also not winning, they lost against Dreams FC. Hearts of Oak are back in contention because it's just 6 points between themselves and Kotoko. 46, I think Kotoko have, and Hearts of Oak are on 40 points. Yeah. So it brings them back into the title conversation. But one thing I'm looking at from this Hearts of Oak team is that they lack a bit of bites, especially up front. Last season they had Hamza Isa scoring about 13 goals 14. For them 14 in the Premier League. This time he hit less than 6 goals.
He has 4
goals. I mean, that is too low. After 20, how many matches?
26
matches. Yeah, 26 matches, because the 2 outstanding games have all been played. After 26 matches, your topmost goal scorer or the player that you are looking forward to carry the team has just 4 goals. That is not good enough. And if you watch Hearts of Oak play, they tend to create a lot of chances, but putting the chances at the back of the net has been their biggest Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And their coach Abubakar Ouattara is aware of that. And that is the reason why the likes of BBN Gold Stars, the likes of Asante Kotoko are peeling away. Because for Kotoko, their problem is not about scoring. And also, Kotoko are getting good results away from home.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, Kotoko would have easily lost this game. They lost against Heart of Lions at Pando last season. And this season, they've even lost against Heart of Lions. One of the first game they played at Obuase, it was Kojo Obin Jr., former Heart of Oak striker, who scored against them. So to go to the Pando Stadium and get a draw is a positive result for Prosper Nati Ogu. In the past, they would have easily lost this game. In the Ghana Premier League, there's a simple trick to it. Ensure you win your home games, and also ensure you don't lose games away. You don't lose more than 4 games away from home. Ensure you get draws against sides that you are competing against. And Heart of Lions is one of the teams that is pushing to also be at the summit of the league. So if you're able to get points against side that you are competing for the title with, then you are good to go. And that is what Kotoko are doing at the moment. They've been able to get a draw against Heart of Lions. They will come back to Baba Yara Sports Stadium and get a win.
Against Bichim.
Simple. That is what they do. And they have the men to bang in the goals for them. Kwame Poku is there, he's scoring. That Asaka will chip in 1 or 2 goals. Even Isaac Minta hasn't played that much. Albert Amwa is back into the side. So Kotoko have the men to score for them. We are looking at how this could go down to the wire. But do Hearts of Oak have enough in their tank? I don't think so. I think there's something missing from this Hearts of Oak team, and they can solve it next season if they can bring in 1 or 2 players. But irrespective of what happens at the end of the season, even if they do not win the league, we need to, give Abubakar Ouattara some form of applause, because last season by this time, Hearts of Oak were battling for relegation. They were battling relegation. They had to take a last day win, Mickey Mouse win, at Bechem, to ensure that they survive. But this season,
a win is a win.
Yes, but it was a Mickey Mouse win. It was a Mickey Mouse win. We all watched the game and we saw what was happening. They were not even jubilating when they scored, because it was a Mickey Mouse win, if I say it that way. But currently, they are within the 12-4, within touching distance. I think they've done well. Just that I don't think they have enough in their tank to push Kotoko all the way. I still feel Kotoko would escape with the title at the end of the season. It's more like the Liverpool thing. It's not as if Liverpool has been extremely brilliant, but Manchester City has been poor. Arsenal, you are expecting to chase.
This
have
matter,
been poor.
this matter. Hold on. Let's get to Premier League first, because this matter, this matter Mutala is about to open.
I'm just drawing an inference from that and saying that it's not as if Kotoko has been extremely superb, but the teams you expect them to push to the wall, like the Bebiani Gold Stars. Like, I mean, today they drew. You were expecting Bebiani Gold Stars to win and maybe overtake them and all that, but they themselves lost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Kotoko might win the league at the end of the season. And Heart of Lions, for me, is a good one. Pando Sports Stadium. Hey, Owuraku, you know Pando Sports Stadium? The way it's hard for them, especially, you know, stadiums in Ghana Premier League closer to the pitch. There's this tomfoolery and intimidation, natural intimidation that comes with it. You can be playing your game and you hear somebody shout, you know, and it gets into your head. So to go to venues like Pando, to go to venues like the Nana Fosuji Abuo Park, the Brekum Golden City Park, and get the result, it's a positive one. Ogum can be smiling. Yeah.
Just to wrap up on the GPL, a quick riddle for the panel. What team has picked up the most points in the last 10 games?
In the last 10 games.
Everyone has one pick. Akosia, what do you think it is?
What team has picked the most points?
Yeah, in the last 10 games.
In the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Certainly not Kumasi. Even though they are top.
Yeah.
I think Dreams.
Dreams? Okay, who do you go for?
Last 10. Dreams.
Go for Dreams. Mutala, last 10 games, who has the most points?
Who has
the most points?
Dreams FC.
Bill.
Yeah, Dreams.
You also go for Dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, correct answer, Dreams.
Yeah.
I was mentioning this in the office. It was Thursday.
Yeah.
So like, can you guys see the position of Dreams FC?
23 points from 10 games. And if you look at the last 5 games, they won all 5. Yeah. I don't remember the last time a team won 5 games in a row.
You know the beauty about the Ghana Premier League? 3 points. 3 points
It's
can completely change your destiny in the Ghana Premier League. If you win 3 consecutive games and you are in the relegation zone, Owuraku, you might be closer to the top 4.
but right now they've won 5. 5 on the spin, I think.
Do you know why it happens so? Because the teams around you are not winning their games. Yeah. So if you're able to get consistent wins, like 3 on a row, it means you leapfrog a lot of teams. Check the point gap.
Yeah.
Just check the point gap. From the 11th position where Adriana has 32. Yeah. I'm not even talking about the top 10. The bottom 8. Yeah. Look at the bottom 8. From Adriana's position up to Inswaterman, who have already been relegated on the face of the fact that they are no longer in the league. All the other teams can be relegated.
Yeah.
Check Legon Cities. They have 22 points and are 17th. Adriana, who are 11, have 32 points. Check Karela, who are 15th, just outside the relegation zone. They have 25 points. And the Young Apostles, who are 13th, have 30 points. You see how close the point gap is. So until you hit the 40-point mark in the Ghana Premier League, you are not completely out of the woods. That is why teams strive to. Prior to the start of the season, there are teams who take pen and paper and calculate the game where see winning, come on, 40 points. Once we have 40 points,
beyond the Ghana Premier League blueprint that you are telling us right now, Dreams FC, when they started the season, were not doing it.
They were terrible.
So what has changed?
Exactly.
So what has changed? A lot has changed. Have you watched them?
Augustine has watched him.
I have watched them several times.
You've watched them too.
The coach says one thing that
I remember Zito said things.
Zito says the tactics has changed, and also I feel that the experience of Joseph Eso has been key. He's upped his game. And he's been the main man for them. Check their last 5 games and see how instrumental he has been. Even when he's not scored, he's been one of the best players on the pitch. They've just rallied themselves and agreed that we cannot be relegated. Let's fight for this. And that is what is working for them. I see them at Tuba and you can see the hunger and desire they play with. And that is the beauty of the Ghana Premier League.
No, see, the games Jones FC are winning, it's not that they are winning against just mere teams. So the teams they've won in their last 5, 4 of them are in the top 6. They beat Benin Gold Stars. They beat Heart of Folk. They beat Pandas Valence in Pando. They beat Young Apostles and Bechim United. he mentioned Joseph first. So there's one guy in the midfield, Kevin Anyable. He has been excellent this season. And there's one other guy, Abdul Razak Salifu. He scored against Heart of Folk, against Heart of Lions, today against being Good Stars. Even when SO is not scoring, this guy is doing very well, getting them the goals. So I think these are some of the things, apart from the mentality that we can't be relegated. So I think this, and then the sign of Yamanko Abefi has done incredibly good for them. And this is what I think the January transfer window was supposed to do for the teams. Yeah. But some teams missed out on it. Others did counter it very well. And it has worked for Dreams FC. They could go on and then possibly finish in the top 10.
Or top 4. If you look at the standings, Dreams are just 4 points. 4 points away from Hearts, right?
Yeah.
But you look at the kind of fixtures they'll play. Also, they play Midiama in Tako after that, the Nations FC at Dr. Kwame and then Vision at home, they'll win. Kerala, they'll win. They'll play Kotoko in Kumasi. So, and then they'll play Brekum Chelsea at home, they'll win. For all their home games, I bet they'll win. and their last game at home, their last 2 games will all be in around Accra, against Accra Lions away, and then Lagos City at home. Come on, top 10, Dreams, here we come. We are dreaming, and it's becoming a reality. Still believe.
So what I said about the fact that Dreams were in the relegation zone a few weeks back, but now it's just 4 points between themselves and Heart of Folk, who have been title contenders all season.
Charlie, but 40 points won't be enough.
For what?
To avoid relegation.
Oh, are you sure?
Oh, it's not.
You'll be fine.
Oh, no, it's not.
The team's down there, 23. They're on 23.
The team down there.
But
I don't think Accra
but it might not be enough
17 points.
Because we saw a similar instance with the Great Olympics last season. Yeah. They had a massive 44 points, but
45,
44 safe, but they were relegated. Yeah, and the season before that, 2 teams crossed the 40 points mark, and they were still relegated. Tamale City and King Faisal. So the 40 points might not be enough. Go for 45, and you might be safe.
Or 45 points looks to be the magic score. But let me come to you, Akusa, quickly on the Black Queens. First win post Nora Hoopla. Have you got any confidence now with the win over Senegal heading into the AFCON?
Not necessarily, because we're playing against Senegal. It's the same thing that basically happened when we were under Nora. Because Nora was also playing against teams that were not the top. So the minute we had the opportunity to play against the best teams, that was Zambia, we couldn't progress to the Olympics. Zambia defeated us. And so which meant that there was still lots of work to do. But then when you watch the beauty of Nora's time, even for you, Owuraku, to post about the pattern of play in the Black Queens team, that was the beauty. Yeah. The fact that they had an identity, the fact that when they are playing, you could really understand what they are playing. And it wasn't just women football. You could understand that, okay, a number 10 really knows what she's supposed to do. When you watch Evelyn Bedu, you know that, okay, this player can hold on to ball, create spaces for other players, can also take on players when she wants to. And these were the things we admired under Norris' time. This time, this new coach who is coming in, I'm a bit jittery about some of the things that he said, because yesterday in a press conference after their first game, he says the game is too physical and he would wish that the Black Queens play more of the ball, even though he knows that it's the African continent and it's physical. Listen, it's Africa. Physicality in the football is in our DNA.
It's normal.
You don't get to change that. So you have to adjust whatever tactics you brought from, whether it's the NWSL, whether it's from Cyprus, whether it's from China. You have to make sure that those tactics are able to find their balance in what we have here in Africa. So when you say it's too physical and you wish they play more, it's now about you wanting to change their style of play. Yeah. But then you came in and also said you want to continue with the Vision Volta. That was somebody's project. Yeah. Did you really understand that? And for you, if your aim is to say, get them to play more beautiful football but be less physical because you really don't like that, is that going to also mean you are going to change our identity? Is that also to say that's why we are always seeing you outside, so that you bring, yes, Ghanaian players who are outside, who may fit properly into the system you want to play, which will rub off I don't want to say real Ghanaian players, but then we know how our people play. We know how Doris Bodua will play, how Grace Asantua will play, Alice Kusi. We know how these girls play. So maybe the coach should just adjust his system to also find a balance for the physicality of the game. He shouldn't be too bothered by it, because in the whole of Africa, that physicality part is in our DNA. From the men's side to the women's side, we do it. So it's something that he has to understand and then accept, so that it would fit into our system of play. But then again, when you are winning against lower ranked teams, it's good. That's the same thing Nora did. She was winning against Benin and Namibia. It was good. These are lower ranked teams. But then if you get the opportunity to play against Zambia, even when you're losing or drawing, and we can still see a certain pattern of play, then it's like, okay, we can improve on these things. So yes, he's won against Senegal. He's going to play against them. It was 1-0. Maybe now what we need to get more is getting more goals. Because if you're playing against Senegal and you score 1 goal, if you play against South Africa, how many goals are you going to score against them? Because that's a high-ranked team. So we'd expect more in these games that they are playing. And that would be the only things that he needs to fix. And at least one player that they've introduced to us, that's Josephine. Yesterday she did very well playing at the right back position. I rewatched the game late at night to just understand certain things in the game. I'm like, okay, this player really understands the position that she was playing in, and maybe the coach now has somebody that he could rely on for this. But then again, my main worry is still the fact that if you want to continue with Vision Volta, which isn't your theory, I'm sure that he should have some time to really understand it, not take our identity from us, so that it doesn't become like how the Black Stars is now. Because we have like Antoine Semenyo, we have Tariq Lamptey, we have Inaki Williams, Jojo Walcott. These people don't really understand they are part of us, but real Ghanaian football, like how the likes of Kudus and Nyama, how they understand Ghanaian football and African football. These other players, they are now learning it. They are now getting to understand some of these things. So at least he should possibly still keep that identity that the Black Queens had under Nora. Maybe when he gets more competitive games, maybe one against Nigeria before we go. If we get to play against some of the big girls now before we go, then we would be able to really tell our level as a now.
Well, it's still a work in progress for the Black Queens, and much later they will be involved in the Women's AFCON later in the year during the summer in Morocco, and we'll be hoping that they keep on improving.
Owuraku sent me the accreditation. I'm sitting myself and minding my business. He sent me accreditation to apply. I'm like, okay, my round trip, first class ticket to Morocco is on you.
Augustine said that YouTube has been doing him good, so he will take care of half.
The money I chop and finish a long time. Against Zambia, that was when 2023.
Yeah.
June or May.
Probably May.
Charlie, come on.
That was when you finished your money.
Yeah, I finished a long time.
That's when you finished Black Queens.
I finished.
YouTube, come and see what they're doing with your money. Anyways, let's quickly touch base with the English Premier League. Bill.
Yeah.
Do you think Arsenal could have done better with this title race? When you look back, don't you feel as if this was yours to lose, given how Liverpool have dropped points recently and their performance throughout the course of the season? Does it really feel like a league gap, like 11, 12 points, or it should have been closer?
Yeah, definitely Arsenal should have done better. I think they weren't as proactive as they should have been in the transfer window, getting that quality striker that they would have needed to sort of get them over the hump or get them over the line. They didn't do that, and that has been costly. But there's also that issue of inconsistency with refereeing decisions. Please help us understand how Everton got that as a penalty. and help us understand how Fulham didn't get a penalty earlier. And even with that, thank God they defeated Liverpool anyway. But the inconsistencies that we've seen in the league this season, it's wild. Especially going for Liverpool and against Arsenal. I mean, mind you, I'm not saying that is the main reason why Arsenal aren't close enough or Arsenal aren't winning the league enough. Because they have to take the blame. Arteta has to take the blame for not pushing to get number 9 to get the goals. But that inconsistency with refereeing decisions has been so costly. And it's really mind-boggling. I was scrolling through Twitter for most of today. Even some Everton fans were confused as to how that their own player got a penalty. Because
I thought it was a foul for Arsenal.
From outside the box. From us, how did the referee call the penalty? How did VAR not overturn that decision? That was totally outside the box. I mean, the inconsistency. Charlie, the Premier League referees always want to find a way to make the headlines. It is beyond me. I find it difficult to understand. But the good thing is, next summer, there's now a new sporting director, someone with a lot more gravitas, a bigger name, worked with Atletico Madrid, worked with Diego Simeone, which is good, and has dealt with big signings. And so hopefully he can make the signings needed to help Arsenal. And at this point, it's not just about quality, but a bit of quantity as well, because the injuries have been really, really costly as well. We've seen Saka out for months. Odegaard at some point was out for months. Martinelli was out for months. Gabriel has been out recently. We've seen key players get missing at, important occasions that Arsenal probably would have needed them to perform. And so, hopefully, if the squad is beefed up in the summer with signings in some positions, not just as a number 9, I feel another wide forward of Saka level quality is very important. I feel another midfielder is needed, especially with Jorginho leaving and Partey's future unclear. I feel these positions should be filled with some quality and, the kind of gravitas that they would have to help Arsenal battle for the title next season. I don't think Liverpool will be there again for next season, especially with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving and all of that. But I feel Manchester City would have had enough to bounce back, and so they will be even deadlier. And so Arsenal have to be ready with the needed signings. But I feel this season is gone. I feel Arsenal could have done better. I feel referees basically were so inconsistent, especially against Arsenal and for Liverpool. And I feel injuries have been detrimental to Arsenal's title hopes.
Muntala, now you can comfortably make your point about Liverpool.
Owuraku. It's not even about just Liverpool.
Yeah.
I will not take anything from Arne Slot. He's been brilliant to come into a team your first season and lead them to win the Premier League. I mean, his name will always be in the annals of Liverpool. I am just disappointed with Arsenal for all these years that teams like Manchester City have prevented you from laying your hands on the title. This was a perfect opportunity for Mikel Arteta. Arteta has been there for how many years now? 4.5. Arsenal, there's this divided opinion or debate amongst the Arsenal fans at the moment. Some feel Mikel Arteta at the end of the season should be allowed to leave, and a coach who has the mentality of winning trophies be brought in. Others also feel that, he's been there for 4.5 years. He's built something. Let's give him one more season. It's that one more season that you keep giving the coach that gives you the hope that he may end up winning the trophy. But that one more season may turn into 7 years, 8 years, and he has still not won the league. One thing that killed Arsenal this season was the fact that they did not invest in an out and out number 9. Because in some crucial game that Arsenal have dropped points, it is clear it's not about the shape of the team, it's not about the tactics, it is about the fact that they do not have a player like Erling Haaland who will be up front there and score the goals for them in crucial times. That is why some of their fans are angry that they didn't invest in Osimhen when he needed a route out of Napoli. It was a loan move to Fenerbahce, to Galatasaray. Arsenal could have snatched Osimhen. He gives you that added value. Gabriel Jesus will not score 25 goals a season for you. Gabriel Jesus, the maximum he will score for you is 15 goals, 16 goals. He will not score 25 goals for you. And you know the thing about Gabriel Jesus, he doesn't even score crucial goals. I mean, the team may be leading 2-0, then he scores a third. I'm not saying it's not important, but you need a striker that would score some crucial goals for you. In a tight game against Manchester City, against Liverpool, it is goalless. At the Emirates, you have a one chance striker who just banks in the goals for you. The Lewandowski type of striker. He doesn't need too many chances. That is what Arsenal are lacking. Yes, they brought in Mikel Merino. He's filling in the gap, but he's not an out-and-out striker. How long can you keep working with that? So Arsenal have disappointed us by not putting up a fight for the title. I thought when Mikel Arteta said over his dead body that he would stop fighting for the title, he was going to put up a very, very intense fight. But it didn't happen. They played this into the hands of Liverpool. Liverpool can even afford to lose a game against Fulham and still be comfortable. I'm sure right after that defeat, they were eating their burgers and sipping their drinks because Arsenal drew against Everton. Arsenal drew. So Liverpool are very comfortable. They are not under any kind of pressure. I am not taking anything from Arne Slot. He's been brilliant, but I feel this has been played into their hands because it's more or less like the same team that Jurgen Klopp had last season, who are still there. The Mo Salahs, the Virgil van Dijks, the McAllister was bought by Klopp, right? Yeah. McAllister and Szoboszlai were all brought in by Klopp. I think it was Endo that came. Even Endo came last season. Yes, so it's more or less like the Klopp team that is still playing. But Arne Slot has been able to, pass on his system and tactics, and it's clearly working for him. But I feel Liverpool didn't get enough, or they've not had enough competition in this year's Premier League. They deserve it though, because they've won some very, very important games.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. No, they don't have to wait for you to be informed before you challenge. It's like a Chelsea fan saying that. It's like a Chelsea fan telling you telling a Chelsea fan that 50 years they didn't win a trophy, and they tell you, oh, let's forget about the 50 years and start counting from 2003 when Abramovich came. Charlie, United and Arsenal fans don't care. The 50 years we're all playing.
Yeah.
So Liverpool don't have to wait for City or Liverpool to be for Arsenal to be informed before they compete for the title. They've done a brilliant job, but I'm disappointed with Mikel Arteta. Oneness after losing the title this season. Oneness. I think maybe he can find some respite in the Champions League, but it's not going to be easy. So if they don't end up winning the Champions League as well, it means that they've gone trophyless. It means Arsenal go another whole season without winning the trophy. Do you keep faith if you are the hierarchy, the highest hierarchy at Arsenal? What do? Do you keep faith with Mikel Arteta that you've been trusting for the past 4.5 years? Or do you take a decision and say, we've spent enough money? Arsenal used not to buy players for 100 million. It was under Mikel Arteta they paid 100 million for Declan Rice. Arsenal were not used to paying that huge fee for a player. So they've invested heavily in Mikel Arteta's squad. I won't take that from the owners. So what do? Do you stick with Mikel Arteta? Or do you say that, no, let's bring in a coach that has that winning mentality, a coach that can take us to the Premier League? I see Mikel Arteta as a fine manager. But I see Mikel Arteta also as a manager that does not have enough in his tank to take Arsenal to the promised land, where Arsenal want to be in terms of challenging for trophies. I don't see Mikel Arteta doing that. There are coaches like that, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he came to Manchester United. I saw him as a manager that could progress a team, that could develop a team. But to take you to the next level like the Antonio Conte's and expect a trophy from the manager, Mikel Arteta doesn't have that in his arsenal.
Okay. It's not small bars. Akusia, still in the Premier League, away from Arsenal and Liverpool. Kudus getting an assist, not the best possible game. I mean, West Ham still struggling. How important do you think it is for him to finish this season strong? It's been a very rough one for him.
Yeah, it will be very important for him because this year he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
And even from last year, the ending of last year and this year, it's a lot for him, especially the kind of pressure he's endured here in Ghana. From wearing the captain's armband to the armband being stripped away from him. Even at the AFCON in Ivory Coast, he played so well, he scores goals, and he doesn't get anyone to help him with the heavy liftings, and it's almost as if for how long can he continue to be a star boy? So if he's not shining, is it that any other person around him cannot also shine? But then again, you would know that after going through the phases that he's gone through, it's just sad that those things he's gone through were necessarily not part of the 90 minutes you have to play. Because if a captain's armband is being stripped off of you, well, go into the 90 minutes and play. At the end of the day, when you didn't have the captain's armband, you were playing. But we know the psychological effect it will have on a player like him. And so to get an assist, yes. But then the kudos we know, it's not as if he was going to score 20 goals for West Ham in a season or give like 15 goals, 10 assists in a season, but at least there were times where he would score some brilliant goals, whether it was in the Europa, he would score some beautiful goals that and goals that made a difference in the team. But then if as West Ham they even made some of their players go, brought them back, some managerial changes here and there also affected him. So maybe, just maybe, now with the fact that he's been able to get the assists, but I am just hopeful for him that at least he may be able to get some 3-4 goals before the season ends, which will be very, very good for him to go into next season like more energized, because he's been a pale shadow of himself. When he signed for West Ham, once again, we're not expecting Kudus to give the numbers that Haaland is given or the numbers that Mo Salah is given. But at least we knew that it could get a little bit closer to what some Chelsea players were given. Last 2 seasons, we're not seeing Nicholas Jackson then doing the most. So if we were comparing players and the goals and all, Kudus would have been in the same conversations with them. So I just hope that in his next maybe 3-4 games, he'll be able to get some goals, get his confidence back to end the season on a very good note, so that when the new season starts, we would see a new version of him and probably the same Kudus who moved from Ajax to West Ham.
So would quickly move to La Liga and then the Champions League, and then we wrap up. But just on Kudus and the Ghanaian players in general, I don't know how to even express myself. I'm really sad when it comes to the amount of ACL injuries that's happening to Ghanaian players. The ACL injury it used to be something that you don't even think about it. It was like a rare occasion. Once in a while, then somebody gets it. And then you're like, oh my God, this is so terrible. But now it's almost become like bread and butter in football, to the extent that even the Ghanaian demographic in our national team, in the past year or so, there was Kofi Tre earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And then after the November games, there was Fatawu Sarko Ali to say the same international window.
Yeah.
A couple of months after that, there's Abdul Mumin.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks after that, now there's Enes Nyama. And that's the reason I was saying that I know it's not possible, but if we could have played all the World Cup qualifiers, we should have just finished it. Because the thing about the ACL injury is that all of these guys that I've mentioned have to now go through reconstruction and come back 9 months to a year later. There's no assurance they will be at the same level. It will take time for them to build muscle, build match fitness and all of that. And it's really sad to see our best players sort of lose a lot of their play time and potential to be able to develop because of this type of injury. I've always thought that what's the point in playing so many games if we're going to get injuries? And it's not even just Ghanaian players. Look across Europe. Ask yourself, the team that you support, Aren't you tired of the injuries that your team has had? There's no team that's been exempted from it. Clearly, it's a pressing issue that needs to be solved. And the best response that we've had is Club World Cup being extended. AFCON moved to December. These players are now going to play more games. World Cup, National Team World Cup, also expanded teams, more games. You look at the NBA. They will play from September to June. But when they have their off-season, 4 months straight, they go and rest. Recovery is such an important part in the sport that we are taking for granted. Now, the players have summer break, 1 month or less, then they have to get back. Look, 1 week after this season, in fact, the week the season ends, they are supposed to come and play Unity Cup. Can you imagine?
They won't be there.
Can you imagine?
They won't be there.
Just look at the schedule. These guys are playing every 3 days. They are training. They are doing. There's too much activity on the human body, and at the end of the day, you would ask yourself, do we want real quality in football, or we just want quantity of matches? These are the pressing, and it hurts me because now it's personal. We're losing too many of our players. Too many of our players. How can you lose Fatau Isaku and Enes Nyama?
Yeah,
This was supposed to be your future winger pairing. These are 22, 21-year-olds getting ACL injuries.
Yeah.
Why?
I think the moment where Gabriel also got injured, Mikel Arteta was asked about if he trains the players too much. He said he stopped training them a lot. I mean, the training sessions have reduced drastically because they know that they're going to play matches every 3 days, sometimes even less. And so they train lesser than ever. And because they train lesser than ever, the muscles don't get used to the sort of speed and environment and quickness and whatever has to game state stuff. So it doesn't get used to game state stuff early enough. And so it will just cause a lot more injuries. I think that is not going to stop until the matches are drastically reduced. But hey, FIFA and the rest, they want money. So I don't think so. Right now, the main thing is just boost your squad. Have enough players to be
even the Champions League they increase the number of games.
Rotates. Right now, that's the only option. Rotates.
Anyways, speaking of games coming in thick and fast, there's a Champions League, and maybe we can all take a bite at the quarterfinals. Arsenal, Real Madrid. How do we see that going?
Close, but I think in the Emirates Arsenal will win it.
Ish.
It is Bernabeu where I have the problem. So I personally feel like if Arsenal really want to progress to the semis, then they really have to kill Madrid at the Emirates, because at the Bernabeu it's like a different spirit enters Real Madrid from 60th minute going. You know that at that point in time you have no control over the game. The control is theirs. So control your own at the Emirates and defeat them. The good thing is Arsenal have never lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League. So
how many times you keep saying that? But how many times have
I don't care. The fact is there.
Last time they
I don't care. The only thing is the fact is there, and long may it continue. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bayern Munich Inter. Who wants to take that one?
Bayern Munich Inter. Okay.
Daniel Amate is Bayern Munich.
Daniel Wang.
Well, you see,
who is spreading that?
The Twitter boys are really doing well at that. So I
Shout
think
out to Meat Pie.
shout out to
Official meets by 8.
he started.
He did more.
Okay, so it's the Inter team seems to be one of the complete teams in Europe, and then I think they are one of the teams every team would not pray to meet at this point, especially at the time where Bayern Munich has not been who we used like or who they are used to be in about the past season in the Champions League. And for what Inter has shown in the Champions League this season, even at the point where they had to play until the knockout stages, until they concede even just the goals, I think Inter will really have a better chance at this. Only if Bayern Munich do come back to Bayern Munich come back to what they can do best in the Champions League. But then for now, from where I'm sitting, I think Inter do have a better chance beating Bayern Munich and possibly qualifying to the next stage. So Inter, they go through.
Should I take the easiest one?
Which one? Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, that's as I said, that's probably like the easiest game for Barcelona.
Oh wow.
They should just be seeing themselves at the next stage of the competition. Yes, Dortmund played. I mean, Dortmund played in the finals. Was it last year?
Yeah,
Yes.
against Madrid.
But then, even in the Bundesliga, they are not finding their feet. They are not even at the 10th position. They are not doing too well. They are not competitive enough. And so to be playing against Barcelona, I mean, it's just Barcelona. Like, and it's probably the easiest game. So Mutala, maybe we should put like 200 cedis on that game.
I don't think it'll be straightforward though, but let's see. PSG Aston Villa.
It's one of the interesting games that I want to watch because of the kind of quality Aston Villa have now. And apart from that test they had against Bayern Munich in the group phase, they've not really faced any bigger opposition. So I feel PSG would provide them a very good test. And PSG's confidence has also skyrocketed. I mean, beating Liverpool, winning the League One with games to spare.
Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's a big advantage. They can now close their mind, not knowing that one trophy is already in the bag, and now they are going for Aston Villa. They can even rest players. I mean, they still have the likes of Desiree Doué playing and scoring goals. The likes of Ousmane Dembele can just fold their arms and be watching. Now it's the Champions League, so the league is not part of their headache now. So I feel they'll go all out. I'm just looking at the quality both sides have, because if you check the players they have in terms of quality, they are not too far apart. I mean, Asensio can compete with Varacelia and any other player in Europe. He has that quality. Only Watkins is one of the best strikers. He can compete against Goncalo Ramos. I can even confidently say he's better than Goncalo Ramos. As you know, Marcus Rashford, if not for the fact that he has had too many inconsistencies, Dembele is not far from Marcus Rashford in terms of quality. So you can see that they are a bit at par. But I want to see how Aston Villa would survive against a Paris Saint-Germain side who have already won the League One, and now their main